Hi guys, how's it going? I hope you're having a good day. Now, since Forza's last big update, which was a few days ago, I have had real issues with this game crashing before races, especially for some reason with A-class races. Now, I've really wanted to get a video out on A-class because I really enjoy A-class racing, but I literally have not been able to get a race done. I have not had a single race that's actually worked. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to upload another race I've had recently, which was in the BMW M6 again. I know, I'm sorry, I've been using this car for the last few races, but actually this race was really good. It was probably my best comeback I've had in my Forza career so far. So without further ado, let's go on with the video. So here we are at Mid-Ohio in the M6 GT3, as I said, in a beautiful Rover livery. I absolutely adore this livery, I think it looks so cool. But here we go, we are starting from the back as we always do. Made our way up to 22nd position, so just purely from this thing's starting ability, which actually is really good. Off the line, this car is very good, especially with sport traction control on, which is what I have. So this is an interesting race. You'll see the first lap is fairly good. Staying pretty clean for everyone really through that first kind of, well, second corner I guess. A few cars off and then Ferrari gets spun, but other than that, fairly clean. So, you know, not the typical Forza start that you might expect. Now this green Porsche in front of us, you want to keep an eye on him throughout this race. We will come across him much later on. You see he goes a bit, I guess a bit sideways there, and then yeah, there we go, there's the first sign from him. He just turns me round, so wasn't particularly happy with that. And unfortunately that puts me right in the middle of this massive pack and everything is going wrong. We're all getting spun round, and then yeah, that happens. I mean, that was so unfortunate, the Ferrari going into the Mercedes who then went into me, and I just get pushed off the track, and unfortunately I can't stop from going into the barriers, and I just get completely stuck and have to reverse back onto the track. So I am in second to last place now, and I was a good 4, 5, 6 seconds behind the next person. But as we see, second lap and I've managed to catch up with 21st place, and luckily the pack is still fairly close together, so there's definitely an opportunity for a lot of overtakes to happen. This race is not over for me by any means, and that's the one thing about these races, especially the kind of mid-distance races. You cannot give up, because there's always the opportunity to make positions. Like there, those two Ferraris just having a bit of a scrap and taking each other out, so that's 2 free positions. Now skipping ahead another lap, we've managed to catch up with the next group, so 17th place in front of us. And this final corner here at Mid-Ohio, the braking line tells you to brake a lot earlier than you actually need to, and so if people follow the braking line, you can actually dive on the brakes up the inside quite easily, like I did there on that KTM. So that's something to be aware of if you're driving on this track. Just try and test out in practice how late you can brake for that last corner, because it is a lot later than you think. Here we are, we're back up behind the green Porsche. Now I'm not particularly happy with him because he spun me around earlier, so I'm going to try and dispatch of him as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, I look for a move up the inside there, and he kind of just closes the door on me, and I lose quite a bit of time actually on the exit of that corner just by that little tap. And that does mean that this KTM behind, I think it's KTM, is well within distance for a dive, so I go a little bit narrow just to defend, but he doesn't look for a move there. It's not the easiest corner to make a dive on, that one, so he wisely backs off, doesn't go for a move. And now I've still got to get past this green Porsche, and I was going to look for a move up the inside there, but backed out at the last second, which was the right idea because he completely cut me off there, which is fair enough. You can't really go for a move on that corner. It's not a good one to send up the inside on. Now there, he brakes way too early and way too hard for that corner, and I do not expect it, so I go into the back of him. And again, right there, as I was saying earlier, he brakes quite early for that corner, and I could just send a really easy dive up the inside. You know, I quite comfortably made that move work. So there you go. That's a good example of how you really can make a move up that final corner. Now again, skipping ahead pretty much another lap to catch up with the next group in front. I've made my way up to 14th place now with that car going wide there. Then two cars unfortunately getting caught up on each other going into the pits, which often happens on this track. The pit entry is not in a particularly good position. If you're really racing close to one another and one of you wants to pit and the other doesn't, it can cause a lot of issues, as you saw there with those guys just getting caught up on each other and just spinning, one of the cars being spun out. So you do want to watch out. If you're going into the pits and you're close to another car, just back off. It's worth, giving it half a second, just backing off slightly, but guaranteeing that you'll get into the pits cleanly. Now here, that Mercedes, I was quite clearly on the inside of that corner. Very, very narrow. I was staying right on the curb. And he just drives across the track right into me and pushes me onto the grass. So again, I wasn't very happy about that, and I was, giving him some thanks in the chat, which it wasn't necessary, but, I wasn't particularly happy at the time. So we haven't lost a position from it, luckily, but yeah, I wasn't particularly happy. So I'm going to be looking for a move potentially on the Mercedes. However, the recording there was just glitching out slightly, so I had to cut it out, but I went into the pits at the end of that lap, and as you can see, came out in 16th place, and I've now, after about another lap, caught up with 15th in this Ferrari. Now he goes a little bit wide there, and I thought I was going to have the opportunity for a move, but he actually collects himself fairly well, although he does then dive into the pits, so I didn't have to make that move happen on track. I'm going to get that position done with him pitting, so nice and easy there. And with other people pitting, that is me up to 13th place. Now we've got a group of 3 cars up ahead, one of whom has a 2.25 second penalty, so that is something to think about. That's a nice little buffer we have, so we don't have to overtake him if we don't need to. But as you'll see, coming into this corner, these 3 guys are having quite a bit of a scrap. As you can see, the Mercedes and the Honda NSX there getting caught up on each other, and me and this Aston are kind of just looking for a way to get past. But you can see there, NSX is not happy, and unfortunately through that corner it's all a bit of a mess. We all kind of get caught up on each other, and that NSX does get spun around, so not ideal for him really. And then I get shoved in the back by that Aston, so I wasn't happy about that either. You can see me putting something in the chat again, and then the game lags, so I actually lose kind of a few tenths on him. So up to 12th place, which isn't bad given that we were pretty much dead last and 10 seconds behind the pack on lap 1. And as I said earlier, this guy does have a penalty, so I don't necessarily have to overtake him on track. But nonetheless, we're going to keep pushing, try and make as many moves possible as we can throughout the rest of this race. We've got about 3 more laps to go. And I pitted a lap later, as I usually do on these races, so I will have fresher tyres than people who pitted on lap 5. So that is also worth thinking about, that I am now looking to push and make some overtakes happen throughout the end of this race. Now he takes a bit of a bad line through that corner, and I get alongside him, but I'm not going to be able to make it happen through the next corner, and he's going to have the inside here. So I'm just going to back off, try and maybe get a better exit here, but this set of corners is really hard to make a move. However, I do get a move up the inside there very nicely actually. That was a pretty nice move if I say so myself. So I am past him. A little bit of contact there. I maybe shouldn't have moved across. I thought there was enough space in front of him so I could do that without any contacts, but there wasn't, and I do just touch his bumper, but luckily no major incidents come of it, and we do get past him. And here we go, our friend in the green Porsche is back again, and this time he outdoes himself. He, for some reason, just decides to be an absolute dick and just slow me down, get in my way, do whatever he can to be as annoying as possible. You see here, he just brakes way too much, gets right in my way. I mean, this is clearly on purpose. He's going way too slowly. He's not at full race speed. And he's just being an idiot. And then that Aston gets through, and I was annoyed about that. But then, absolute legend just takes out the Porsche, just shunts him off the track. And he gets a 4-second penalty for it, so he really did sacrifice his own race there just to get rid of that Porsche. He obviously had been having some issues with him as well as I had. So yeah, I take back everything I said about that Aston, because he absolutely took one for the team there and just killed that Porsche. So thanks to that guy, absolute legend. But anyway, there is the end of the race. We are up to 9th place on track. However, as you'll see, once all of the timings have settled down, it actually finishes in 8th place. So given what happened on the first lap, I think that is probably my best comeback in Forza so far. I was pushing so hard to try and make up any positions, and I think 8th place was a really good result. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if so, please do leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out, and I hope to see you guys in another video soon.